international front. Now, the White House has said that the US President Donald Trump had a 2.5-hour conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The White House has called the call a positive one. This is the second call between the two leaders in the last 24 hours. Also after that meeting between Trump and Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. So a 2.5-hour conversation between Trump and Putin, and the White House has described that phone call as extremely positive as Trump tries to push for peace in this zone as well. That is the big piece of news that's coming in, where the second phone call in the last 24 hours between Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has played out. The White House has called it an extremely positive meeting. So what could be the details of that? What could be the level of discussion that has taken place between Trump and Putin? Could a new ceasefire be in reach, given the fact that Trump had that meeting with Zelensky, and Zelensky has made it extremely clear that the United States should not trust Putin? To get more details, I'm joined by my colleague Siddhant Mishra on the broadcast. Siddhant, a 2.5-hour long phone call between the two leaders. What kind of movement could we expect in any kind of a ceasefire, given the fact that Zelensky has expressed his doubts time and time again?
Well, that's right, Ayushman. In fact, this is the second telephonic conversation between the two leaders in the last 24 hours. The first call took place ahead of President Trump's meeting with President Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago, and now the second telephonic conversation took place. Now, this morning, when both President Zelensky and President Trump met, after which they held a press briefing. And in fact, President Zelensky said that 95% agreement for the securities guarantee from the United States, 90% agreement for securities guarantee from Europe, military dimensions, 100%, etc., etc. All these things he said. But also the fact is, Ayushman, that the main point of contention is the Donbas region.
Right.
Now, Ukraine is not ready to cede Donbas region to Russia. Russia is not ready to withdraw forces. And from the very beginning, whether it's Alaska summit, whether it's the other meetings taking place between United States and Russia, United States and Ukraine, perhaps none of the side could find a solution to this point of contention. And, this is perhaps the reason that, it is getting delayed. Now,
Right.
Both sides are desperate to get the ceasefire. Both sides want to end the war, Ayushman. Russia is under heavy sanctions. Even their largest oil refineries, Rosneft and Lukoil, have also been sanctioned both by the United States and European Union. What President Putin wants at this point in time is some relaxation, some easing of the sanctions, perhaps, because it has hit
Right.
Russian economy adversely. When it comes to Ukraine, perhaps the way after President Trump came to power, the scenarios changed for Ukraine, and perhaps now even the Europe, which
Right.
on the face perhaps may be backing Ukraine, but ultimately President Zelensky
Right.
also understands that this support is not going to continue for the long time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Siddhant, for decoding that for us. So we'll have to wait and see how this conversation plays out in the wider ceasefire push coming in from Donald Trump.